Welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm gonna go ahead and start putting the engine, the engine harness, coolant pipes, and topping off fluids, and it's just gonna be another step closer to getting this project finished. So when it comes to putting this back, there's really no right or wrong way or which order to do it. For me, because you can see the harness is kind of all over the place, I'm gonna first connect the harness, the ECU, all that stuff first, and then I'll work onto like the coolant hoses, and then any other hoses, miscellaneous stuff like the AC stuff, lines and whatnot. Got majority of the wiring harness installed, with the exception of the fuel injectors. I still gotta do the oil housing, the MAP sensor, the air intake temp for the supercharger manifold. What else am I missing? The throttle body. Got all the stuff here installed, even the coolant hoses. All this side I got pretty much all installed, with the exception of the AC lines. Those still gotta be installed. That's once I get the front radiator support. Got all the AC lines and hoses. And then on the bottom part, to get underneath, I got the power steering installed and pretty much the coolant line. So pretty much all of that stuff is now installed. It's very cramped, especially on the driver's side here with all these hoses going on. Still gotta do the expansion tank, still gotta do the ECU, and yeah, so next I'm gonna go ahead and do the ECU. The ECU, if it's not obvious by now, there's only one option. So if you don't know, now you know. So this is what you need to do. If you have this platform, B6, B7 platform, get yourself the jackal tune. Here is another update. So I got the oil lines up here connected in the back. I got my PCV valve connected to my oil catch can that also runs to right here. So it comes from right here, comes in and comes out here into the manifold or onto the throttle body area. Got my expansion tank. The ECU is now finally installed. There's definitely, a lot more connections are now connected. Again, the connection that goes under the expansion tank is in. So that's what's left is the throttle body, the injectors on both sides, my MAP sensor, my temperature gauge for the manifold for the supercharge. And that's pretty much it. And I finally installed I removed the OEM fuel line, which is this guy right here. So the reason why I removed it and put this one in, because this one's E85 safe, because I am going to do a full conversion to E85. So I already did the spark plug as mentioned in a previous video. The fuel injectors are already E85 safe. And then this is the only thing that's OEM. I mean, besides the fuel pump, but as far as as OEM goes, the line that I just showed you, that needs to be changed out to an E85 safe fuel hose. So that's what that is. So I have it still uncut. So obviously I'm not gonna use all of this. So right now I just have it connected in here. Because what I'm going to do is once I have the supercharger installed, I can at least see how much I need to cut to make it look nice and neat. Because as I mentioned before, I am not going to leave it all like this. So for right now, that's where I'm going to stand right now, take a break for the day. So what's left is the supercharger kit. So that's going to go in, and I'm actually going to skip the part for the purpose of this video. I'm going to skip the part of putting the supercharger together, because right now I have it in pieces. You can see I have the supercharger in pieces. I have the manifold, the charger itself, the inlet for the elbow, the heater core that goes inside the manifold, and obviously the bolts that go along. As mentioned, I'm going to do actually a separate video for the putting the supercharger together, because you know I definitely want to dedicate that to one video only. So just for the purpose of this video, as I mentioned before, I was gonna skip that part and you'll see the supercharger here installed here in a little bit. I mean, a little bit according to YouTube time, but in real life it'll take a few more days. But yeah, so I'm very excited how it is coming along. It's just getting closer and closer as I continue working in on the car. Go ahead and install the supercharger. So before I do that, I'm gonna go with the air hose, get all if there's any like dust or dirt that I got in here during the time that it's been like this, because I don't want to release the tape and then remove the little towels that I have in here and then dirt to get in here, because there's like maybe some speck of dirt hiding in here. So I'll make sure I give this a really good dust, because I don't want, like I said, don't want anything getting into the intake valves. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that and go ahead and insert the supercharger. Real quick before I install the supercharger, I do have the intake gaskets here, so obviously both sides, and these are the same part number, so they're definitely symmetrical. The only difference is here's the dowel right here, and then there's the second dowel right here. So just make sure you take that into consideration. So yeah, so now I'm gonna go ahead and install the supercharger. With the beauty of YouTube magic, here's the supercharger. There it is. Still gotta install it, so I still gotta do the bolts and whatnot. As mentioned, I have the supercharger installed now. I still don't have the bolts in. I'll do that here in a little bit. So as far as things I still have covering up are the fuel injectors, where they go. So for right now, that's just gonna be covered up until I install the fuel injector rail, the fuel rail and whatnot. Still gotta do the elbow, connect this to the PCV valve, but pretty much that is pretty good. And then obviously I'll install the supercharger pulley and then the belt that comes along with it. But yeah, it's looking really good. Did a little bit of organizing back here. The throttle body is now installed. I'm still gonna wait to connect this to the throttle body until I get the MAF sensor or the elbow, and then once I get the elbow installed, is what I'm trying to say, is then I'll go ahead and install this just to have a little bit of clearance. But overall, it's definitely coming together. Again, I'm still waiting to install the fuel rail. I think I'll do the fuel rail now. As a reminder, this is gonna be the fuel rail, and this fuel rail and the injectors itself, they're all E85 safe, so that's a good thing. So just as a reminder again, the fuel injectors I have are the Deechworks. They're the 1000 cc's, and I got these over from Alex at AM Tune. So yeah, so this is another, making this look a lot closer to finish, so it's definitely very exciting. As far as what I'm going to be doing as far as the O-rings right here, I'm going to be using the silicone grease here to lube up the O-rings so that they go nice and snug in here, because I definitely don't want to insert these when the O-rings are actually dry. It's always good to recommend it to use a type of silicone grease for like fuel injector O-rings. Here's more progression with the engine. So I do have the air filter intake installed now. Got the MAF sensor connected. The fuel line, I finally cut that to size. So I routed the fuel line back here instead of, because originally it came up here and ran along this side. Figured I'll just kind of put it back here, make it look a little bit, there's a lot of cluttering going on, but just to make it look a little bit more stealthy, a little bit more clutter free. Finally got the water pump installed back in, and also you can now definitely see the main attraction here. The pulley is back on with the belt, and this is how it is routed, courtesy Alex at AM Tune. Doing it the VF way, how the belt actually from the alternator to the belt, there's a straight shot right here, and then this part right here loops around this way. And with this method, there's more surface area of the belt contacting the pulley, doing it this route, as compared to the VF, especially because this is a smaller pulley compared to the VF pulley, which is slightly bigger. There's that pulley just for size reference. You can definitely see the size difference, and I go into more detail examining both of the pulleys in a previous video. If you've seen that video, you know what I'm talking about. And then yeah, so pretty much got all the wiring harness. The only exception that's not connected, the stuff that connects to the front radiator support. So I got the power steering lines disconnected, the AC lines, this lower coolant hose that connects to the radiator. This is for the heat exchanger for the supercharger itself. This and this. I think I already mentioned the water pump. It is connected and wired. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I got. I still don't have the battery terminals connected yet. I'm going to leave that till the very last minute to connect those. But overall, it's looking really good. I'm very happy so far with what I am seeing. It's definitely been a smooth sailing, you know, fingers crossed that it's still smooth sailing until when I connect the front radiator support. So I think that's pretty much what is next. Oh, I forgot. This is for the power pump, the water pump for the supercharger. So this I'll actually have to tuck it in with some zip ties over close to the sway bar, the front sway bar, I mean. So this, I still gotta do this. I gotta get underneath the car and just check other stuff before, you know. Obviously I turn on the car, and that's definitely one of the things I gotta do. Overall, yeah, very happy. So the next thing is, I think the front radiator support will definitely go in now. But before I do that, I think I already said it. I'm just gonna double check, make sure everything is in line, connected, clamped, that needs to be clamped, tied, that needs to be tied. And yeah, all that stuff. And then once I have that in, I'll start topping off with fluids. Front radiator support is now connected. There's still a few things I haven't connected yet. I still haven't connected the power steering to the little heat exchange for the power steering. I did connect the hoses to the supercharger. So I haven't connected the AC lines, and there's always some miscellaneous stuff like the wiring harness and whatnot. This side of the AC connection got and yeah, so that's looking pretty good. I did connect the coolant hose that goes up here, and also the coolant hose that's connected down here on this side. But other than that, it's definitely looking a lot more completed every time I get to work on this car. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. In the next video, I'll go ahead and start topping off the fluids, start connecting the miscellaneous, you know, connectors from the harness, you know, some lines. And yeah, so I'm very excited. I'm definitely getting a lot closer to finishing this project. So hope you guys have been learning something new. You guys watch these videos, and hope you guys have a good one. Thanks.